Welcome to the Real CP Show. I'm your host, CP. Today's topic: over 200 border breaker illegal immigrants and pseudo border breaking illegal immigration type criminals were charged in the Southern District of Texas. So you had over 200 plus border breaking illegal immigrants and basically pseudo border breaking illegal immigrants or border breaking immigrationists that were charged in this Southern District of Texas. But at the same time, like all this chaotic chaos that's going on in parts of LA, various parts of Texas, parts of New York, parts of Chicago, parts of Nebraska, right, with this anti-legal immigration chaos toward personnel, right, that do not want immigration, border breaking illegal immigrants to sit there and not have the right, or should I say, you got border breaker illegal immigrant personnel and pseudo border breaker illegal immigrant personnel and pseudo immigrationist type personnel, the ones who are basically open borders and they have a slick bias because they're looking out for their own families that might not be legal themselves, right? And they do not want any type of enforcement by sovereignty to protect the borders within America. The insulting of this, and especially LA, various parts of LA, is the ground zero of the insultingness, where you see various types of Hispanicism type personnel, and especially certain sections of Mexicans, the one this applies to, because there are some small amount of other flags, extremely small, but it's mostly a Mexico's flag that you see in these chaotic chaos, treasonous, treacherous type personnel who are doing this chaotic chaos, where they're booming and burning police cars and vandalism and all kind of stuff. Now at the same time, if black people are doing it, oh my goodness, black people always burning stuff up. Even with the George Floyd situation, people try to act like, oh my goodness, black people doing this, and they found out there was numbers of Anglo personnel that were burning stuff up. You got Harvard other things that were happening toward black folks, and then when black Americans specifically, and then when there is some type of protesting going on, and some few get tired of this anti-American black terrorism, right? This anti-black terrorism to continue to keep going on in various parts of America, and a few do some things. Oh my goodness, they're always doing things, right? But when it's these chaotic, treasonous, border breaking illegal immigrant personnel and pseudo border breaking illegal immigrant personnel and certain ones within certain immigrationists who want open borders, then it's like, oh well, the insultingness. Like you see in this image, immigrants. Hold it for you. Let me see here. This person is saying, if you sneak into Disneyland, should they let you stay if you get caught? And once you've been caught, should they give you meal money and let you ride the rides for free? I'm not quite sure if you are saying that you are for the chaos or you're against the chaos. And you let me know a little bit more better than that part. Not quite sure what you're saying on that, but definitely thank you for the comments regardless on that. So the thing about it is, it's an interesting concept, because especially black folks, especially black Americans, they can't break immigration laws, and various other people can't break immigration laws. But for some reason, there's a certain section within Hispanicism that feel that they can do this. But relating to this topic, let me sit there and just read you what's some of the main part of this screen. I just want to share this particular screen part of it on this. Give me 1 second here. All right, make sure you can see that part. All right. So this is the thing I want. Oh, let me sit there in first. Let me get these off here. All right, much better. So now you see already it says the U.S. border part, and this more than 200 charge in SDTX cases along southwest border. SD means Southern District of Texas. So more than 200 charged in SDTX cases along southwest border. The story goes in Houston's article. A total of 202 cases have been filed from May the 30th to June the 1st, 2025, because today is June 18th, 2025, in immigration and border security matters. The filed cases include 7 involving human smuggling, to my border break illegal immigrants, or pseudo border break illegal immigrants, are ones that are accomplices to these sectionality of treacherous people. A total of 129 people are charged with illegally entering the country. Let me repeat that. A total of 129 people are charged with illegally entering the country, while another 63 faces charges of felony re-entry after prior removal. Let me repeat this again. While another 63 face charges of felony re-entry after prior removal. Most of the individuals have most of these border breaker illegal immigrant personnel, pseudo border breaker illegal personnel, accomplices of these two sectionality treacherous personnel have prior felonies such as narcotics, violent crime, immigration crimes, and more. Other relevant cases charged this week relate to the other immigration crimes. One such person this week is Luis Humberto Gonzalez Sanchez, who was arrested for illegally harboring 16 illegal aliens in his home in Mercedes, Texas. The criminal complaint alleged that he harbored 100 aliens in the last 6 months for whom he was paid $150 each. If convicted, he faces up to 10 years in prison. Also facing new criminal charges are 6 Mexican nationals, all of whom had been previously convicted of illegally re-entry into the United States and sentenced to terms ranging from 15 to 46 months in federal prison. However, their charges allege authorities had found them in the Rio Grande Valley after once again unlawfully returning without any permission to do so. Oscar Vicente Perez Lopez and Juan Manuel de la Cruz, whatever this is, Mejia something, Jose Luis Tostado Flores, and Jesus Morales Vargas, Jose Patricio Rios Rojas, and Juan Manuel Alvarado Gonzalez had allegedly been previously removed on varying dates between 2015 and 2023 and face up to 20 years in prison upon conviction. But at the same time, all this type of anti-ICE, right? Treasonous, right? Burning police vehicles up, burning buildings up, all kind of chaos, assaults, different places. But at the same time, oh my goodness, National Guard. Oh my goodness, we don't need a National Guard. Or send some Marines in. We don't need that. Everything's okay. The insulting is part, because again, if this was Black Americans doing this, do you not know the N-words this and N-words that? They always complain. They always talk about race, all this stuff like that. But some of the same people out there benefit off of Black pain. But at the same darn time, when it's certain type of people of color, the Hispanic version, the one this applies to, right? And things like that happening from certain ones of them having the Mexico flag and some other ones, right? But very small amount, but most of them be Mexico flag, right? Then it's, well, yeah, that's kind of wrong a little bit. I mean, hypocrisy on that. Let's keep going. In addition to the new cases an illegal alien from El Salvador was sentenced for assaulting law enforcement. But at the same time, oh my goodness, defund police. Oh, that's anti-law enforcement. All those black Negroes always talking about that, but they don't talk about the number one personnel who have done things towards the law enforcement personnel. It's personnel within certain males within the Panama-based culture. Those are the number one personnel who have done more things toward law enforcement than black people. But you saw this little reverse mental switchery, dogaboo poo type of game must continue to keep happening, right? You see how this continuously disgusting game keeps happening. And it's allowed, by the way. So it talks about how authorities conducted a traffic stop in November 2024 in Rio Grande City when Oscar Adilio Sanchez Rivera notified them of its alien status, meaning border breaker, illegal immigrant. As Border Patrol agent attempted to place him in a vehicle, Sanchez Rivera attempted to evade arrest, punched the agent in his face, and caused additional injury that requires surgery. He will now serve 36 months in prison. But at the same time, you got Harvard political personnel sitting there getting arrested and jumping all over, places trying to fight for a border breaker, illegal immigrant, but they won't sit there and fight for a black American who have been in this country doing more things than most anybody else in this country besides certain ones within certain parts of Panama's culture. The audacity and the insulting is beyond wild. But they expect numbers of political people still is going to expect, right, for black people to sit there, especially next year, then 2020 election, to sit there and go vote for numbers of them and don't get nothing. The insulting of that. So it talks about how the defendant here managed to turn a simple removal case to a multi-year federal sentence. Let this case be an example to others who may wish harm on enforcement, however, place federal agents, talk to law enforcement would not be tolerated. But at the same time, various parts, you see how various parts of LA is on fire in this, right? Are all vandalized in various parts of Texas and certain parts of Chicago and certain parts of New York and higher parts of Nebraska and certain other places throughout this country, right? Are getting all kind of nonsense stuff going against them, right, by border breaker, illegal immigrant personnel, pseudo border breaker, illegal immigrant personnel, accomplishing type personnel who are for them, and even certain type of immigrationist personnel who know who they are, the ones it applies to, who want to have more of things go on because it benefits those type people, the ones it applies to, right? Also announced was the sentencing in Houston of an illegal border breaker, illegal immigrant personnel, alien, for stealing a U.S. citizen's identity. In imposing the 40-month sentence, the court noted that the seriousness of the offense and that Carlos Bedoya Sanchez's previous penalties did not do enough good or make him repentant. The investigation has revealed Sanchez began using the victim's identity in approximately March of 2009 to obtain state driver's license and other U.S. identification, including their passport. So he said this border breaking illegal immigrant personnel sit there and got someone's identity, but at the same time, who's going to come over to the United States and pick those fruit and vegetables? Right? As if they are the only people who has done this in America's history. They do not need numbers of border breaker, illegal immigrant personnel like that. They were being picked before that. If the companies sit there and raise up the prices for the payment, there will be more people. And it's interesting that Black Americans have been the most assaulted by race, the most hated by race, the most terrorized by Harvard laws and policies than nobody else in this country, right? And at the same time, then after formal segregation is supposed to be wink, wink, abolished after slavery, which is still what there was still pseudo enslavement still going on, and that was in one of the amendments in the Constitution that still was allowing certain type of things to happen related to slavery, especially toward Black people. That's when they went into the peonage, right? And they've utilized for chain gangs for free. So do you not understand these little games are disgusting, right? Following a 2-day trial in Corpus Christi, a Houston trucker was convicted of transporting illegal immigrants, a lawful permanent resident since 1989. Here we go again, see? Oh my goodness. Well, they're illegal. See, that's the little game that some of them been playing. Oh my god, it was one poster boy Hispanic within certain parts of Mexicanism, the one applies to, who sit there and got deported. Oh my, and they try to use him as a poster boy, and they found out he was a sit there criminality type person himself, but they didn't want to talk about that, right? You see how this little disgusting game goes, right? But it's allowed. And they do not especially want numbers of Black Americans to see through these little games left and right, right? So the thing about it is they talk about lawful permanent residents since 1989. Armando Baladeres Prado had pulled up to the Border Patrol checkpoint south of whatever this is, Fears, whatever it is, and seemed nervous. His vehicle was completely empty, but had a seal and lock on it as if there was a full transport load in the back. Authorities soon found two individuals hidden underneath the bed of the sleeping compartment. Both were determined to be citizens of Guatemala, illegally present in the United States. Baladeres Prado told the illegal immigrant aliens to get under the bed and instructed them on what to say if law enforcement discovered them. He now faces a federal prison sentence and possibly loss of his status in the United States. Do you understand this treasonous? Do you not know there are more laws that are about people utilizing to loophole themselves to try to get rights to border breakers? How many numbers of Black American people who do travel know better that they better not go break immigration laws, right, in another country? And how many of them have been stopped in certain other countries who know they are, and they were asked to sit there and, should we say, provide some resources to not receive a certain ticket, should we say. But that Black American personnel was by all rightness, right? He was in the right, or she was in the right. You see how this goes, right? See, this is a little disgusting tactic in the first place. Because the Black American people were breaking immigration laws like this and hiding under trucks and sitting there doing boom pieces of equipment to their federal law enforcement people across the southern borders of another country and flying American flags. Oh man, do you not know laws will be passed the next few days on that, and they be cleaning the house, getting rid of Black American people out those countries? You see how this goes, right? But border breakers are sitting there committing anarchy, right? And nobody will allow Black American people to do some stuff that's happening right now. Nobody. Wow. In Laredo, Texas, two men also learned their fate for their roles in extensive human smuggling conspiracy and operating stash houses in Laredo and Petit. Manuel, whatever it is, Capetillo something, and Michael Diaz are attributed with smuggling over 65 border breaker illegal immigrants, including adults and children, right? And so so here we go. Oh my goodness, they gonna break up families. Piece of, you know what? They sitting there utilizing these kids as pawns. You see a disgusting tactic. So you have some people that be like, well, that person, well, I'm citizen and stuff like that, or the child, through however loopholes that people are given and stuff like that. They have some kind of legal residence, the mom or the dad, stuff like that. They're still border bringing illegal immigrant personnel. The mom is sitting there going to however places, the agencies, to get some kind of food stamps and stuff like that. For the kid, because the kid don't have to sit there and be that kid don't have to be, or kids don't have to be citizens to get on food stamps. These people know the game was going on. They know it, right? And then as those kids get older, and especially they become actual citizen, and many of them don't even still put the paperwork in. And so now they grown 25, 28, 29. Oh my goodness. Instead of going through the process and say, okay, my mom and dad, they sit there and brought me over here illegally, I need to go ahead and put the paperwork in. Numbers of them even don't. But still, same damn time, the ones who have done that, well, then they can sit there and sponsor their person, that parent or parent who broke immigration laws in the first place. You see how this game goes, but Black American people cannot do no stuff like that. And they know it. And the nerve of some of these damn people, they actually damn think that overall, again, Black Americans so damn stupid. They think overall Black Americans supposed to be fighting for border breaking illegal immigrant personnel in immigration causes. But at the same time, when Black American people continue to go through hell, right, in various parts of America, American blacks are the number one most hated ass group. That is by statistics. You say, hey, where's all these different ass groups? They're quiet. They think Black people are overall stupid. In Laredo, 2 men who learned their fate for their roles in extensive human smuggling conspiracy. I'm just reading it again. An operating stash house in Laredo, Texas, Petite, Texas, Manuel Capetillo and Michael Diaz are attributed with smuggling over 65 border-breaking illegal immigrants, including adults and children as young as 6, who came from multiple countries as far south as Guatemala over several months. Capetillo recruited drivers, scouts, and caretakers to bring border-breaking illegal immigrant aliens in from countries in South Central America and transport them throughout southern and central areas of Texas. Capetillo received an 85-month term of imprisonment, while Diaz was ordered to serve 70 months. Most likely they're not going to do that, serve those times on that. In handling down the sentence, it was the more that the court has noted that inhumane conditions in which the court noted that inhumane conditions in which the aliens, border breaker, illegal immigrant personnel were transported, and that Capetillo and Diaz had made a business out of smuggling border breaker, illegal immigrant personnel. You thought these people as cattle because numbers of their own people don't care about their own people. And just because you say Hispanic, which is a gigantic freaking broad ass word, only means the person speaking Spanish. And there's Afro-Hispanic people, the ones who know who get treated like, you know what, cross those southern borders in certain parts of Hispanicism, in certain parts of, anyway, the whole point is, right, they don't want to talk about that because the people that are allowed to come across their border is not the Afro-Hispanics overall. It is the pauper looking of Hispanicism. That's the ones that are allowed to come over here, right? And who's going to pick your fruit and as if several millions and millions of people are border breaking that are picking fruit and vegetables. Get out of here with that damn game. Again, they really do think people are stupid in general to sit there and believe this. And there's some people that are stupid to believe this nonsense, right? There have been so many border breaking illegal immigrant personnel that have sat there and been caught in air-conditioned facilities, been caught at Harvard, other buildings and places and stuff like that that are not in those fields. I mean, they really do think people are stupid collectively on that. And there are numbers of Hispanics who can't stand other Hispanics. Big time. Another sentencing in McAllen, Texas, saw a border breaker illegal immigrant head into prison for 37 months for trafficking over 1 million in cocaine. After hearing, the court heard additional evidence that Rolando Benda Lucero did not have status. He was a border breaker status to be in his country and got involved in narcotics trafficking for money. Almost finished. Also finalized this week was an adult male pretending to be a minor. Oh my goodness, creepy. As he illegally entered the country on February 2nd, El Gerasimo Fabrico Cato Novato claimed to be an unaccompanied minor so he could be housed in a special facility. That is creepy, right? The investigation revealed Cato Novato was actually an adult posing as a minor. He was sentenced and not expected to face removal proceedings. How many border breakers are in those facilities of unaccompanied minors? And they said there are adults. And by the way, it is a disgusting tactic that they use the unaccompanied minor trickery, right? You say, wait a minute. So this little boy, girl, 4 years old, 5 years old, 10 years old, 12 years old, they just keep coming across the border every damn day. Oh, they just having to come across on some southern border country or state or from some or some other places, and they just happen to come to the northern borders and be unaccompanied minors, and they supposed to sit in some kind of holding facility and said, no, you got people already sitting in the States ready to sit there and receive them already. The game has already been played for so long. And unfortunately, millions of American blacks, unfortunately, do not know this disgusting type freaking tactic. It's unfortunate. There's quite a number of other people too, don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying, people keep thinking Black Americans collectively is supposed to fight for this kind of stuff. But for many people within various sections of America, doesn't give a damn about Black American kids at all, right? Because it's all about other people trying to survive and get their stuff, right? See how that game goes, right? On that. Ain't no wrong trying to survive and do stuff, but it's interesting when you got other people don't have a problem with border breakers getting welfare because they utilize the kids, getting food stamps, they use the kids. I mean, the list goes on and on. You got people sitting there overstaying their visas left and right. There's many of them. Many going to sit there in Black colleges, sitting there sliding under the Black banner or people of color, minority banner. Oh, they know who they are. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I'm telling the game is wild on this. These cases were referred to, supported by federal law enforcement parties, including ICE, all that kind of stuff. These cases are part of Operation Take Back America, a nationwide initiative that marshals the full resource of the Department of Justice to repel the invasion of illegal immigrants. First of all, they are too much ingrained in America. They're not going nowhere. It is millions, double-digit millions. And so the thing about, they're going to sit there and try to get 15 to 3,000 border breakers deported. It don't matter. It does matter to get some of them out, right? And some of them will be going right back across the border because there's no truly consequentialities on that. But here's the point. If you have, there being double-digit tens of millions of border break illegal immigrants, you couldn't deport 3,000 and still even scratch the surface of border breakers. And they know it on that. So I'm going to sit there and stop that right there. Something got legal, blah, 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 blah. Hold on. Who was this person? Let me see what you got here. Some 10 years ago, very wrong looking for all right. I will play along for half a second on that because I see what you're doing, but it's not even logical. Close to 1,700 years ago, the Goths, illegal immigrants, had invaded Roman territory looking for food and shelter and a better life. Well, first of all, there was no even such thing as the foundation of Rome the way we see it now. No such. Come on now, let's not do that. Let's not do that tactic. And especially Greece certainly wasn't going on like that at that territory. And you trying to compare, especially even England and the UK wasn't even around 1,700 years ago on that. All right. So I know how I see the game you're playing on that. I got you on that. You're trying to compare illegal immigrants. You want to play that game with illegal immigrants, and I was playing along with you. I appreciate you giving those kind of things up. But I see what you're doing on that because we both know there's no such thing 2,000 years ago as anything in the way of what we call Greece or Rome at that situation in the first place. That was just some open land of various types of Visigoths and Vandals and all the other people. You know what I'm talking about. You know that's not even true on that. They were not even, there was no such thing as Germany or Spain or France. So there people looked at as illegal immigrants then. So we can't play that tactic. But I appreciate what you send this stuff out. The mismanagement of the Goths started a chain of events that led to the collapse of one of the biggest political and military powers humankind has ever known. The Goths, the Gothic personnel, they are a modern day people. Because again, the Goths, the Visigoths, the Vandals, right? The Teutonic tribes. Oh, I'm very familiar with that European history. And by the way, European history, because that's what we're talking about, is Europa. Europa is basically a terminology for one of the constellations that was more toward Africa. It was African princes. So I'm very familiar with that, what you're talking about. And prior to that, who was over there before the Visigoths and the Goths, right? And the Teutonic tribes, right? Who was over there then? Because 4,000 years ago, they weren't even around. Mm-hmm. So you still had people that still migrated from Africa who was already over there, right? So we can't play that game. But again, I'm looking at your comments, showing the comments. So I appreciate that. When the number of legal surpass number, when the number of illegals surpasses the number of legals, does it become their country, and are we all deemed illegal? Now, that is quite an interesting, concept on that. All right, like it, immigrants built America. Now, again, whoever you are, and I definitely appreciate, because it's not about agreeing with every single thing on that. Now, the thing about it, relating to the America, because wherever you're at and stuff like that, but relating to America on that, well, 500 years ago, when they started bringing in certain types of African personnel to the Americas, and talking about Christopher Columbus, and certainly Christopher Columbus didn't even reach to the actually physical America. He went into Guadeloupe and some of those Caribbean islands first, right? And the thing about it is, you start getting the 1600s where it became Black Americans. So Black Americans have been in this country, right, for centuries. So 1600s Black Americans, 1700s Black Americans, 1800s. So you still got about 200 and plus years that Black folks from 1600s and 1700s and 1800s were still here 200 some plus years before many countries, before many other people screaming exist in America. You start looking at the 1600s, look at America. America was not the United States of America in 1600s. It was just various types of territories, right? Because you didn't have nobody really start making permanent colonies until what, 1607, 1619, right? Jamestown, and then Plymouth and stuff like that. But I make this point, and your question is that illegal. See, again, you and I both know that is a modern day game. Now, again, certain parts of Europe is having that particular problem. England's having a problem with certain numbers of immigrant personnel. Certain part of Western Europe is having some situations going on with that, right? So those different games going on, we understand that. Even across the southern border of Mexico, numbers of them are complaining that, hey, oh my goodness, you got some of these Anglo-American people come across there and causing conflict. So the question is a reverse. Well, does it mean that if Anglo-Americans, when they're going across the southern borders and they are setting up shop, and some of them are causing the economics of those places to go up, which then is displacing numbers of those citizens, then see how that game goes, right? See, so a person say they can't have the cake and the ice cream, right? You can't have that too, right? And then you want to have some cupcakes on top of that, and then you're gonna have a piece of salad. It's not logical. So again, that is an interesting question on that, because you know what? Just for you listening on that. Oh, hold on for a second. Oh, and you have a blessed day too. But if you're still there, I'm gonna play a video for you because it goes into what your art a similarity. I wasn't gonna play this, but just for you. If you've heard this called Absalon on that, let me play this because I wasn't going to play this because this is related to your question, because this particular game situation.
We remain a hunted people. Now you think you have a destiny to fulfill in this land that historically has been ours for 40,000 years. And we're a new mestizo nation. This is our homeland. We cannot, we will not, and we must not be made illegal in our own homeland. We are not immigrants that came from another country to another country. We are migrants free to travel the length and breadth of the Americas because we belong here. We are millions. We just have to survive. We have an aging white America. They are not making babies. They are dying. It's a matter of time. The explosion is in our population.
It's not enough to elect Latino leadership. If they're supporting legislation that denies the undocumented, they don't belong in office, friends. They don't belong here.
And those rednecks that are out there making decisions for the betterment of their communities will think twice before they push forward anti-immigrant legislation against
Mm, 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 mm. See the game on that. On that, yes. You said, what do you mean? You see the game. It's a similarity of question what you're asking on that. Absalom, if you have not heard that, just look it up. Absalom on that. And so the thing about it is the game is very strong. Just like this particular, I'm going to share this particular quick video, and I'm going to close it down on that right here. I'm just going to show a few minutes. I'm going to close it down on that. See, this is the thing going on LA, and it has its breaks and comes and goes, ebbs and flows, whatever it is. But the question is, again, can Black Americans go to other countries as well and break immigration laws and do fire booming police cars and other places and throwing rocks and all turn up stuff, right? Because that's the game that people love to sit there and try to blame Black Americans and stuff like that. But Black Americans help build this country more than anybody else besides certain ones that put on its culture, right? And when if you're still there, if you're still not, then that's fine. But if you're still there, that it's an interesting thing because again, Black Americans have been the most openest people ever in America and been treated unequally more than anybody else in America. And see, then some people watch the game. Oh my goodness, what about the Native Americans? I'll be like, I'll go somewhere with that. See, you can talk about the Native Americans on that, who's supposed to have been in this country a lot longer and stuff like that. But then you start looking at archaeological and paleontological information, and that is not that is debunked left and right, because what we call Native Americans, whatever that's supposed to mean, are personnel that came across the Bering Strait up there, what we call Presdale, Alaska, within the last certain ice age. So who was in Americas before then, right? So you see how that game goes, right? Because it couldn't be Romans. We talking about Greeks. They certainly wasn't around tens of thousands of years ago, right? And those are the only people that's made power on that, Greeks and the Romans on that. So in the Americas, who else was around? Because England wasn't around, UK wasn't around, all right? So who else was around on that? So the thing about it is, playing this right quick.
Vera Street area. But what we're seeing now are, these are anarchists. These are not law-abiding citizens. These are...
Federal force and federal leverage to force blue states and blue cities to do what he wants them to do.
Right. And that's overarching while we're watching people vandalize what I believe are California Highway Patrol cars. They're throwing scooters on them. Again, not sure how that's exactly protesting, but for
them to do.
Right. And that's overarching while we're watching people vandalize what I believe are California Highway Patrol cars. They're throwing scooters on them. Again, not sure how that's exactly protesting, but for all of us watching, we are seeing it play out. Ron, thank you so much for being here with us. We really appreciate it. Always good to hear from you in moments like this.
Look, Dr. Spock. What does that sound like, Dr. Spock? Oh, okay. I appreciate you too, Valiant Thor. So I definitely appreciate you on that part, because it's not about trying to agree numbers of times. Sometimes we can disagree, but as long as things are respectfulness, and I think that's all that counts, of just trying to share various types of information. And so that if you go that my username and click on that, that you also will see, I think there are some videos that I think you will quite like, especially on the homepage of the Real CP show. It talks about also how the what's the word, international tribunal finds U.S. guilty of certain types of crimes against humanity. There's some also animation cartoons by this person who does hip hop cartoons, which is a whole different topic. And a lot of my other live, on the live tab, you'll see the various types of my live podcast. And under the, what do you call it? Under the videos tab, you'll see the various videos. And I think you'll be interested, and or anybody else also that is interested, to take a look at that, because I don't do this to try to get monetized. That's the last thing I'm even trying to think about. I'm just sitting there trying to put out the information. If someone makes some comments, okay, it's not about disagreeing, agreeing. Some people agree, some people disagree on that. But I definitely appreciate you subscribing. Only thing left, let me go back. Too many weird things going on in the world today. Now, you are certainly right about that. And see, the question would be, is this done on purpose? You said what now? Yes. This is done on purpose. Now, again, I'm not quite sure of who you are, but I appreciate, again, some of this commentary on that. If you're familiar with this, go take a look at what is called geoengineering, right? Solar radiation management. There is a if you go to YouTube and you type in the dimming, DIMMING, if you've heard about that, that's fine. If you haven't, the dimming. So it kind of relays over some things that you're talking about, how too many weird things go on in this world today. It's called the dimming. And it talks about certain type of things dealing with the weather modification, which is a whole different thing. At the same time, it also talks about, I'm not quite sure, I can't remember if we talk about that, but there's also dealing with geoengineering that also deals with, what is it? Oh man, ionosphere heater management, should we say, when certain types of people are heating up the certain type of atmosphere, and depending on who you talk to, may possibly contributing to these various more earthquakes, and especially you see more of these wildfires. Just saying. Yes. Just saying on that. But it's called the dimming on YouTube, and it's for free on that. So what's the thing here? The only thing left is for the ET to reveal. Then every single piece of toilet paper on the planet will be gone. Oh, yeah, well, I'm just saying that, and you talking about a whole different thing, because, oh man, what were some of those situations that came up where the ET situation that's still going on? People talking about, oh, well, and my thing about it is, you have to understand, we are part of what, the Milky Way galaxy that's around about 100,000 light years on that, and it would take forever to get from one end to another end. And the thing about it is, we are one little bitty marble on the outside of the spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, right? And which the sun, the main sun, is 900 some thousand miles away. And it takes several minutes for say we had a major solar, a coronal, a coronal mass ejection, that it coming from the sun. And that massive radiation would take minutes before it arrives to the earth. We will have no basically time to know. And then you think about the universe, how big it is on that. See, you're talking about a whole different philosophical type situation on that part of it, right? And so again, I definitely appreciate your commentary and things like that. So if you're interested in other people listening, again, if you go into that Real CP show and click on the username and stuff like that, go to YouTube and type in the Real CP show, and it comes up with the homepage and stuff like that. If you're interested, you can sit there and see some of the videos already on the homepage, and you click on the video section. And if you're interested in looking at some of the titles on the live one, on the live tab. So again, I definitely appreciate it for the people who have tuned in, because it's all about learning and stuff like that. Because again, some people do this stuff to try to get monetized automatically and all stuff. I just try to do it informally and stuff like that. And so I'm not quite sure if you have your own YouTube channel, if you thought about it, but if you do, make a comment on this. When I close this out and it goes to make a comment on the YouTube channel, and I'll subscribe back to you and stuff if you have one. If not, then hey, I just appreciate the time. I thank personnel for tuning in to the Real CP show.